All right, you guys, welcome to another episode of Unapologetically Her, the podcast that's for her, by her. And for today's episode, I will be discussing probably the most controversial movie on Netflix. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. I think you heard of Cuties, or if you've seen it in French, Mignon. And for today's episode, I am welcomed by my lovely guest, Anissa. You probably remember her from the Unapologetically Black series that I had back in the summer. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me again. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to have you. Last time Anissa was on, it was pre-recorded. So this time we actually get to speak live. And have like a nice girl chat.
Mm-hmm.
So Anissa, tell the people about yourself.
Okay, so I'm 23 years old. I live in Florida, in America. I know, Nadine, you're in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the United States, which is a hot mess right now, as you guys know.
You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm. I just graduated with my bachelor's in health science from FCU. And yeah, I like to have these sorts of discussions and discourses. I think they're healthy. So that's why I'm here.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into it, is there like any socials or anything you want to promote? Let the people follow you.
Okay. I'll plug my Instagram at Anissa Genetta, ANISAGENETTA. Go ahead and follow me. Okay, just hit 1K. So
now, mind you, I already follow her. Her pictures be booming, so make sure you follow, like, comment, share, all of that.
I'm dead.
So before we jump into the topic, I just want to start off with a question because, you know, trying times 2020 is just, you know, on the next level. So how are you?
I'm okay. Considering everything going on. Today's a very sad day, as we all know. Breonna Taylor did not receive the justice that she deserved. So it's just been a really upsetting day. Yeah, just another example of how, you know, Black people specifically just aren't afforded the same rights in this ridiculous country. So
oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous. Like, honestly, it's just ridiculous. But besides that, I mean, you know, it's just another day in quarantine.
Right.
Trying to stay alive. Try not to get the virus. So.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah.
Now, you guys, we're going to get into Cuties. Now, let me tell you, when I first saw anything about this movie, I saw it on Instagram. And right? And at first it was like the poster for the movie that had everyone in an uproar. Now, did you see the poster first? It wasn't the trailer first.
No, somebody had posted screen grabs from the film and little clips and was like, put a paragraph about how crazy. And I was like, what is this? What's going on? Everybody was like commenting, and it was like, that's what I saw. I didn't see the poster of the film, the cover yet.
Oh, see, I saw the poster first before the screen grabs, and the poster was, you watched the movie, right?
Okay, so I did not finish watching it.
Oh, trust me, I understand.
We'll get into that. But I did not finish watching. I did watch enough to have an opinion, so.
Right? Oh, trust me. After like the first even 20 minutes, I'm like, I'm stressed. Like, just the thought of it has me stressed again.
Yeah, it's definitely upsetting, especially if you're not used to. I mean, like, I think we all know that that's happening in society. I think we all know that, you know, little girls as young as 11 years old are engaging in that kind of behavior in some aspect. I mean, we have TikTok, we have Instagram. You know, we know that these things are happening. I think people just are not used to seeing it so in their face. You know what I mean? And especially because they use like actual children as actresses in this film, so it was even more disturbing to some. So yeah.
Now I'm gonna actually come back to that because that's a question I have for you.
Okay.
Well, my first question for you is, before watching the movie, what was just your first impressions?
Like I said, I had just seen screen grabs, so all I really knew was, okay, there's a film on Netflix with little girls doing sexual dancing. That's all I really knew. And I didn't really have an opinion yet because I mean, I really only could go based off of what I was reading, which was people was, you know, were very, very upset about it. And so I'm assuming in my mind that it's very disturbing and it's very inappropriate and, you know, it needs to be taken down from Netflix. But I hadn't, you know, I also wanted to see it for myself and get an opinion for myself before I made an opinion about it, because, you know, I think that I can understand why people are upset.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand. I think, like I said, people are not used to seeing those kinds of images. I think the intention behind the film was to present, like, you know, present an accurate portrayal of what teen girls go through in our current society, which is a lot of what was shown, which is, like I said, very hard to watch. But I think it's also, in some aspects, you can say it's necessary and it's trying to acknowledge something that's really important to talk about. And it started a discussion that, obviously, you know, the discussion was kind of like, it became like, you know, cancel Netflix and things like that. But I also think that, like, there was some discussion that was brought, you know, to the forefront about, you know, what's happening, and that these little girls really are being exposed to all these different things, and like this is what the pressures they're going through is, you know. So I don't know. I think before watching it, I kind of thought negatively about it. I think after what I saw, I kind of understand a little bit more about why the movie was made, and not be so harsh about judging it. But, you know.
No, I actually agree with you on that, because I think when I first saw the movie, I was in like uproar. Like, now for you guys, just so you know, her cousin is Tanish. Tanish has been on the podcast before.
That's my cousin. Yes. I couldn't be here today. I'm so sad.
When I first saw the trailer and the pictures, I texted Tanish and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, this is disgusting. This is like child, like pedophilia, pornography, like what?
Especially after response,
And then I'm just like, okay, no, I'm like totally against this. I'm not watching it. I was just like flabbergasted by the movie at first impressions. But then I'm like, well, if I'm not going to talk about it, I want to make sure before I talk about it, I'm able to give an unbiased opinion.
Right, exactly.
So we didn't watch this for fun, but for research purposes, be like, right, disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer.
Be like, okay, what was so wrong with the film? Why did some people think the film was okay? Why did the director and the writer justify this movie? So my first impressions were like, this is disgusting. Take it on Netflix. I still say, well, you know, let me save that last part of the answer for later.
Okay.
But my first initial reaction was just like, this is a no. I don't know what this is, who came up with this, but this was just a no. I couldn't deal. But now, what are your thoughts surrounding the boycott of Netflix because of the movie? Because I think everyone just went straight to boycott Netflix, take away my account, this service. Like, what were your thoughts about that?
You mean now or before? You mean just in general?
In general.
Okay, well, right. Well, I feel like I understand people wanting it being taken down, because a lot of people, their concerns are like, okay, let's think about the other audiences watching this film. Like, let's say there's pedophiles watching this film. Like, it gives them easy access to seeing little girls in compromising positions, sexual positions. Like, it's giving them access to that, basically. So I can understand from that perspective. I'm torn about how I receive. I'm really torn about how I receive this, because I understand both sides. I understand the side of this. We need to talk. We need to like show that, you know, what's going on, and we need to make it really hard to watch, because it is hard, and we need to talk about it. And then I also see the side of like, this is disturbing, this is inappropriate. These don't, you know, we don't need to have this on this platform. I understand both sides, but I don't think we should cancel Netflix. I think I don't know. I think people saying cancel or boycott Netflix are just really trying to get, you know, it taken off of the platform, which, I mean, even if it's taken down, it's still going to be other places to see. Like, I don't really think that does anything in terms of, like, you know, the problem. Like, that's just, I mean, it'll be accessible somewhere else in a different platform on the internet somewhere. Like, it's going to be out. It's going to be able to be watched regardless. So I don't think we should boycott Netflix. I still watch Netflix. Not gonna lie. So
I'm not gonna lie, I got back my account because I'm like, I kind of want to see what this movie is about. I canceled my account
So
because
you
like
didn't
I'm
have it
always at
before.
work. I'm one of those people who I have Netflix, and then after quarantine, I'm like, we need to save that money. So
Okay, so
canceled
you can't.
Netflix
Okay.
and then brought it
Don't
back.
forget somebody else's password. What are you doing? Well, you need to get somebody else's password. Okay.
Anybody want to sponsor me with a Netflix account? That would be great.
Sponsor. You sound like you're a starving child in third world country. Sponsor me. I need help.
Ooh, that $13.99 a month can go.
It definitely does. And they keep raising. Prices keep raising. They keep raising it because they know that people, are going to pay, which they are.
Thank you. Look what happened to $9.99.
Listen, sis, everybody started using people's accounts. So now they have to make up for it because they're losing money, apparently. So
I'm like, I don't like this. But we're gonna come back to it because I got shows to watch.
Exactly.
But
they
I agree.
Keep adding good ass shows on there too. They just keep adding good stuff every time. I go on there, there's a new movie, a new show. I'm like, oh my god.
Look here. I need to get to the last season of Greenleaf.
Oh, I don't watch that show. Is it good?
Okay, sidetrack. You need to watch Greenleaf. No, you need to watch Greenleaf.
There's a lot I have to watch, though. There's too much. I have a long list of shows I have to like. I'm gonna wait for it to be done. When they're done filming it and it's done, I'll watch.
Oh no, Greenleaf is done now, so that's when.
Oh, it is.
It's done. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll
5 seasons.
How many episodes a season?
There's like 10, and they're each like an hour long.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
yeah, you can finish it like less than a month.
A month.
Mm-hmm.
I could finish it in like 2 weeks, probably.
Okay, so when you do, let me know what you thought.
Okay, binge watching.
But yeah, I definitely got it back because I'm like, okay, let me see what this is all about.
Yeah.
I don't really see the kind of. I feel like we're very quick with the cancel culture.
We definitely are.
The minute something doesn't agree with us, we're like, cancel it, boycott.
Yeah, the second we don't agree with something, and second something makes us uncomfortable, the second something is, like I said, we don't agree with it, we don't approve of it, we want it canceled, we want it gone.
Yeah, but like abolish.
Yeah, but that's not realistic, and that's not how we should approach difficult discussions either, or difficult content. Like, that's not how we should approach it. If anything, we should figure out why it makes us uncomfortable. What is the intention behind making this film? Like, there was an intention behind making this film.
Yeah. Like,
they knew it would cause an uproar in some regard. They knew that. Like, what was the reason for them making this film? And I don't know. That's just how I feel. I feel like I like I said, I understand people being uncomfortable with it, but I also just feel like we need to stop. Like you said, stop trying to cancel everything every single time. Like what? Like why?
Like, I agree in the fact that I feel like the movie either one needs to be taken off of Netflix because of the audience it's geared towards. It's not geared towards children. It's geared towards a mature audience. It's geared towards adults. Y'all need to take that shit down, or you need to go back to the writer's room, rewrite certain scenes. But to boycott Netflix as a whole, I am sure there has been worse movies that probably just did not get the attention. There's worse stuff that's come out in theaters, on TV, on Netflix, maybe on other streaming platforms. Right. This one just happened to be the one that blew up.
Right. I agree.
So I'm not really for the boycott of Netflix, but I am for the cancellation of the film.
Okay, that's fair.
Right? A balance.
I think it's a fair balance.
I
think so.
But from that question, now, do you agree with the controversy surrounding the film now that you've kind of seen a bit of the film?
I think the controversy is expected, and I think it's definitely, I don't want to say it's valid. I mean, I guess you can say it's valid because, I mean, there's literal 11-year-olds on screen doing sexual gyrations and dancing. I think that's going to be controversial. Like, I understand the controversy, but I don't think that so this is my perspective is this. I think that I grew up in a Caribbean household, so I think that it's hard for me to like, because I like, when you're Caribbean, you understand. If you're Caribbean, like, you grow up, when you're that age, you're doing that, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. Like, when you're I know me when I was 11, 10 years old, like, we were doing those things with my cousins. What's Tanish?
Yeah.
My cousins.
Everyone's just dancing, having fun.
We were all out there doing worse than that. You know what I mean? So, like, we were like they can't watch this and say I'm lying because I'm not. Okay, we were all doing that at that age, making up dances, making up routines, you know, working, you know, whining, you know, all that. Like that's we're Caribbean girls growing up. You're surrounded by that environment. You're surrounded by those images, like and those pressures. Like you're doing that kind of stuff. And I think that it's even worse now for girls in society because like we have apps like TikTok and we have apps like Instagram and we have like hypersexualization, the hypersexualization of just like, you know, women in general and especially young girls. So I think that it makes sense that it's controversial, but I also think that like this is something that we do have to confront in some way. And I know it's hard to, and I know it's a balance of figuring out how do we approach it, how we talk about it. And some people think that like making a film is too much. And I can say, you know, I can understand that too, but I also think that like the discussion needs to happen. So, I mean, you know, like I said, I know that this I was doing the same thing at that age. It wasn't broadcast to the world, but we're doing that. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of girls do that. So,
and I think it takes a lot to admit that too, because a lot of people act like, oh my gosh, we're so like innocent and pure, and we didn't know this.
No,
it's like
no, okay. Caribbeans, no. They teach us how to do that stuff when we're
but again, it depends on your, in a sense, perception, your perspective when it comes to it. Now, was it doing it because it's our culture?
Right.
Or were you doing it because you think that's what you had to do to fit in because that's the latest trend? So that's that shaded area of gray.
I agree with that. But I also think that it was, for me personally, I think for a lot of girls that are, you know, part of our culture, I think that it's both. It's both like the pressures of like, you learn how to do this because you're Jamaican, you learn how to do this. You know what I'm saying? And also like that's a part of our culture. That's what we see. That's what we're immersed in, you know? Yeah. But I think it's both. So
see, I like that. I didn't really think of it that way, but
no?
That's true.
What do you think?
I think we forget the fact that we were that age once. And that we've had these kind of things where like but things we never really saw a problem with it.
Yeah.
It was dancing, it was having fun and just in a sense it was being a kid. But now this generation doing this and being a kid has reached a whole different level.
Oh no, definitely. I think it's worse. They definitely it's a different level at this state, you know. I think it's definitely a different level for them. Like they don't like we weren't, you know, it wasn't this bad for us. Like it definitely wasn't. But that's just because we were fortunate enough not to be in, you know, a child in 2020. Because I know for a fact if I was a child in 2020, I'd probably be facing the exact same pressures, you know? So I mean,
we didn't really see ourselves in these kind of compromising situations where it could either be totally left or totally right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just like the controversy surrounding the movie for me. I'm like, at first I'm like, I agree. And now I'm leaning more to, I agree. But like you said, it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah. I think that I can say this. I can say that they probably could have approached it in the movie differently. I think that the film was just, I think they could have discussed it in the movie, or they could have, you know, somehow incorporated it where the message was very clear. I think that it was just very like
they kind of missed the mark with the message.
Right. Yeah. So I think that people lost that message because of how it was portrayed. I think it could have been done differently. I'll say that.
No, absolutely. Because the director of the film was saying, now let me find the quote. The film was about the objectification of women and children and the pressure preteen girls feel to be pretty and sexy. Now, like we're saying, again, this is struggles that almost every girl goes through. Now we said, like, did the movie go too far trying to prove the point? We said we feel like they missed the point. Do you think they went too far though?
I think there were certain scenes that didn't need to be included. Like, I think there was a scene where, like, they were blowing up condoms or something like that. Like, I think, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think
I was stressed at that scene. I'm like, Tanish, I'm stressed.
There were certain scenes that they didn't really, in my opinion, have to include, like, to get their point across. Like, they didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? So they did go a little bit too far in some ways. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yep.
They definitely didn't have to do that. Like, that was not necessary. They said that they had a counselor on set for the children. I guess for the children. I don't know who else the counselor was for, but to make sure, I guess, that they were like mentally okay. But yeah, honestly, this is a French film. Foreign to me. I'm in America. Foreign films typically, especially European films, tend to like push the envelope a lot. Honestly,
they do.
They really do, definitely. Like, their films are like, a lot of their films would never have been made or produced or, you know, approved in the States, in America. Like, I know that for a fact. A lot of the films that happen overseas. So yeah, I'm not
That's why I was watching it, and I'm like, I grew, because I studied French from like kindergarten to like the end of university. So I've seen so many French films, and I'm like, you know what? This actually, watching it doesn't shock me.
Yeah. Like, that's not something that I'm surprised they did over there, because I'm just like, they pushed the envelope. Look,
there's literally no filter.
No, none at all.
I'm like, this is probably the most extreme I've watched. However, it doesn't surprise me. Now, I do agree, though, they definitely went too far with certain scenes. Like the condom scene, they went too far.
Yeah. Right.
I think the other scene, I don't know if you saw the scene where she was trying to seduce her cousin.
Okay, yes.
His phone?
Yes, I heard about it. Yes. Wait a minute.
This, when I tell you, this scene actually like pissed me off. Because I'm like, it's unfortunate, and you know what's sad is that this is something a lot of kids are doing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
She tried to seduce the cousin to keep his phone, and he's like, what the heck are you doing? And he pushes her away. She steals the phone and goes into the bathroom to take a picture of herself. Like her area to post.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is so disturbing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, a little bit too far.
Yeah.
However, it's unfortunate that there's a lot of kids out there right now who are doing this because they think that's the only way to get attention or to get someone to like them.
Absolutely. I remember, I don't know if I was that young, if I was 11, but I remember like girls in middle school were doing things like that. Like I knew girls that were doing stuff like that, like taking pictures of themselves, you know, topless and things like that for guys, for attention, because they thought that that's what they had to do to keep a male gaze, you know, or to keep that attention on themselves. And it's unfortunate, but like that's what's happening. I honestly am convinced that like the producer director made it so bearingly uncomfortable and made it so just, you know, as raunchy as possible, because he wanted to have some sort of a shock value, or to, you know, to get that attention. Because I think that if it was a lot more tame, let's be real, we wouldn't be talking about it like that. You know what I mean? We wouldn't be talking about it like that. I think that he did it on purpose. I think that it was made that way, and it was so seriously, like, you know, we had all these very disturbing images because he wanted to capture our attention and be like, look, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like this is what's going on. It may not be this severe, like, but it's definitely these, you know, these scenes that I have, like, this stuff is happening. I think that's why he made it like that. I think that the purpose of it being so incredibly uncomfortable was for that reason. So I think that even though, you know, like I said, like, you know, we were saying he could have, you know, they didn't have to make it, you know, that uncomfortable. He didn't have to do all that. But I also think that if he didn't do all that, you wouldn't be talking about it to the same extent, you know? So
it's almost kind of got to pick your battles a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then I remember another part, she said she hoped to start a debate about the sexualization of children in today's society. She definitely started that debate.
Definitely did. But honestly, I mean, from what I saw personal social media, like I said, I think the debate is becoming more so like we're not, I think people aren't talking enough about like the sexualization of girls. I think that we're talking more just about how this movie is inappropriate. I think that's what people are talking. People are just going on about how inappropriate this movie is, how this movie can be taken down, and not enough about the message of the movie. Like, I think it's becoming more so about just like, you know, this is gross, and, you know, pedophiles are gonna watch this, and it's not enough about like, yo, like, did you see this scene? Like, this is really happening with 11-year-old, 10-year-old girls in society. Like that's not happening enough in my opinion. I don't see that on social media. I don't see that discourse enough. I'm just seeing people mad about it. I'm not seeing anybody talking about how, you know, how we're perceiving it. So,
and I think that's the thing is like, okay, cool, the movie's an issue, yes, but how comes we don't talk about the fact that, like you said, this is an actual problem?
Yeah.
This movie's not the first.
No, it's not.
You have this going on. This has been a problem in entertainment and in real life.
Oh, yeah.
You have, again, we have kids posting on social media, watching these things.
Mm-hmm.
We have first of all, we have reality shows. Okay,
let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that because we're saying this movie's a problem. But we have things like dance moms, toddlers and tiaras, just children pageants in general.
Yeah.
Why don't we see a problem with that?
Yeah. They wear skimpy. They have 5-year-old, 6-year-old girls wearing skimpy outfits. You know,
and makeup
dancing on stage, like kicking their booties on stage, doing all this stuff, like, and because, you know, it's a competition, it's a pageant, it's beauty, whatever, like we excuse it and we're like, okay, well, you know, it's innocent, but like, you know what I mean? But it's the same concept. Like, obviously it isn't the same degree, but it's still the same concept.
Yep.
No one's mad about it. People promote that show. Dance Moms was popular. I used to watch that show all the time. People used to watch it
without a problem.
Yeah, no one had an issue.
But yeah, we watching this movie and said, well, where are the parents? Where were the parents in Dance Moms? Where were
they were right there.
They were right there.
They were right there watching and supporting their children being on stage.
Thank you.
They had no problem with it.
Here's my thing. I feel like no child should have to go, whether it's the movie or real life, until they are age appropriate and mature enough to make that decision for themselves.
Right. Right.
Will this be something that I will be proud to look back on?
Right.
Do I feel like this goes against my personal morals and values?
Right.
Now, a lot of these parents, I'm sorry, but they're doing it for a check.
Oh, definitely.
Whether it's movie or reality TV, it's for a check.
I know for a fact, Dance Moms, Maddie Ziegler and her mother, like, Maddie was paying all that lady's bills, I'm pretty sure. She, like, the money these parents are making off their kids being on this show and being in these, you know, being on these, you know, competitions and things like that, like, they're making a lot of money for the parents. Their parents are gonna support it because that's their livelihoods.
Exactly. Just feed off their child. Now forget their 9 to 5.
Right. Oh no,
they're making money. I could retire from now.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them quit their job just to be, you know, and exploit these kids. And like, honestly, you could say the same thing about even things, and we can get in deeper into it about Hollywood and how they have these children being exploited in Hollywood. It's just children who are exploited behind the scenes all the time when they're young, and their parents allow it because what? Their children making them money.
Yep.
It happens behind the scenes all the time, and nobody, like, because you're seeing it in your face, it's so comfortable, but like, it happens constantly, you know what I mean?
Because it's making you uncomfortable, which is why you want to cancel it.
Right.
However, if it wasn't brought to your attention, you wouldn't care.
No, at all. Not at all. Mm-mm.
Everyone's in an uproar, but this happens every day.
And I can't even argue that this film was made not for kids to watch, but for the adults. I think it was made for the adults to see, like, this is what your kids are doing. Like, just so you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think this is made for kids to see and be like, oh, you know, this is, because if anything, little girls watching this is going to be watching it and wanting to emulate it, if anything, I think personally. But I think this is made for the adults to see and be like, this is, you might not know this, but this is the pressures your child goes through. This is what she's, you know, seeing all the time on social media. Like, this is what the pressure she's feeling. This is what she feels like she has to do. You know, behind closed doors. There's lots of kids that do behind closed doors, behind their parents' backs, be on their phone, taking cute pictures. You know, I used to do that, you know, take a little short video, you know what I'm saying? As a kid, like, that happens all the time, like, you don't know it, but I think this is to expose that to, like, your kids are constantly being fed these images, and like, this is what their peers are doing in school, are showing them in school. You know, this is what they're seeing. Like, you don't know this because you're not with them at school. You're not with them, you know, behind closed doors. But this is what they're seeing all the time. This is the pressures they're going through. So I think that this was honestly for the parents to see. I think that's why, and I think that they don't like it. They don't like, which I don't, you know, I can understand not wanting.
They don't like to be called out.
Yeah, you don't want to be confronted with that. But I also think that, like, it's necessary to an extent. Like, obviously, it's hard to watch, but it's necessary. So that's why I kind of, like, I'm torn about how I received it, but I see both sides.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm actually with you on that.
Yeah.
I just had my point and completely slipped me. Ah! Oh no, when you're talking about not having kids watch this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Netflix is Netflix. Unless you have
Oh
some
yeah.
type of barrier, a child will probably come across this.
Oh for sure.
But I
Yeah.
also think if you're going to watch this movie with a child, or if a child's going to watch this, the parent needs to be with them.
Oh definitely.
This
Oh
is one
for
of those
sure.
movies where if you're going to watch it, I need you to sit down and explain to your child why this was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Why did she feel the need to do this?
Right.
Why you now, as my child, should not feel the need to do that.
Right.
Right?
I
Let's
agree.
break this down together and let's have an actual conversation.
Yeah.
Because at some point they're going to encounter this crossroad to do or not to do.
Right.
So I feel like this is one of those movies, again, it's a crossroad. I'm like, I was so against it. And I know to hear be like, I get it.
Right.
It's unfortunately there's some scenes we could have left out. We could have left out a lot of the dancing and the skimpy outfits.
I agree.
I left out the picture taking.
Mm-hmm.
However, I get why she did it.
Right.
Now, how do you feel when they said this movie is going to bring a lot of pedophiles?
I mean, I think it's inevitable. I think if there are adults who are trying to see, first of all, I think if adults are into that kind of thing, are trying to see young kids doing things like that, they're going to find a way to see it, regardless of if this film is banned from everywhere. They're still going to find a way to watch that. So I think that they're definitely, if they know it's on Netflix and it's easily accessible, they're definitely going to probably take advantage of that and watch it. And that's not something you can necessarily like filter out from them or like, hide from them. Like I think they're gonna, if they see it, they see it. But like I said, I think that, I don't think that's reason enough, in my opinion. I'm not saying it should be take off Netflix. I'm just saying that I don't think that is reason enough to do that. Like that, because like I said, you can say that about a lot of things. Like they're gonna find a way to watch whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like however they could watch Toddlers and Tiaras. They can watch Dance Moms, if anything. You know what I'm saying? And still, and like, you know what I mean? Like that isn't necessarily reason enough to take it off Netflix for that reason alone. But
take that off, but there's always something else that's gonna pop up for them.
Yeah, it'll draw that eye regardless, and that's just the reality of making a film like that, I think. But Netflix has had a lot of controversies, like when they had, this is a different topic, but when they had the 13 Reasons Why show, and people wanted that taken off for Netflix.
Yeah.
Because of the suicide.
It was promoting suicide for a lot of people too.
Yeah, and I also didn't, that's a whole different topic, but I just feel like, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like whenever we have like really hard, difficult images to see, like put onto a screen, no matter how realistic it is, like we don't want to see it. We want to ban it. I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand that perspective. Honestly, I really don't. Like, I
think it kind of falls into the grouping of we're letting media raise our children.
Oh, definitely.
Social media, TV, movies. Instead of us sitting down with the child and be like, okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
We just let them watch TV, and then when something happens, we blame the show. We blame the video.
Mindlessly, right.
Why am I... Since when was Cardi B supposed to teach my child? Since when was Grand Theft Auto supposed to teach my child? Why
do they have such easy access to all these things in the first place?
Exactly.
Same thing with the WAP video. People are mad about Cardi B's WAP because little girl. I'm like, what? I'm like, you don't. First of all, you know what? I'm tired of people blaming other people for their kids being, raised a certain way or seeing certain things. I'm like, that's your child. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's your child. Like, why are you blaming Cardi B?
Because some people were trying to justify or go against the movie by comparing it to WAP. Here's my thing. These are 11 to 14-year-old girls playing this role. These girls went underage. Their parents pretty much made this choice for them.
Right.
Could they have made a better choice? Absolutely. However, you cannot categorize the movie and WAP together. Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B are two grown women. Who know what they're doing.
They're allowed to talk about sex.
They're allowed to use their body if they want to. They are mature enough to make that choice.
Right.
These little girls are not. Do not put them in the same category.
Right, exactly. It's two different things. I don't understand why they're being compared, and I don't understand why individuals are trying to constantly blame, like you said, like media and like celebrities and movies on like why their kids are being, are acting a certain way, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I understand like it definitely has an influence on them, like for sure. I think we all know that. But like you said, if you talk to your kids and you're raising them correctly, they shouldn't be negatively influenced in that way. They shouldn't be wanting to go on stage and twerk. If you raise them correctly, you know what I'm saying? Like that shouldn't be. You should know that they're going to be met with all these different things. Like growing up, they're gonna, like we all saw a lot of different things growing up. Like that doesn't mean we're all going to be raised to be out here wild now. You know what I mean? Like no, because you're raised correctly. I think that if you know how to have those discussions with your kids, you shouldn't be concerned about them accidentally, maybe seeing something like the WAP video.
Yep. They should be able to watch that and be like, oh, that's funny, or that's cute, and leave it at that. Right. Now, if that's what they aspire to do, then I'm sorry, I don't think you really did your job as the parent.
Yeah, I agree.
Stop letting the media raise your children.
Right, I agree.
If you were grown enough to lay down and have the child, you should be grown enough to raise them. Sorry.
Right, I agree. It's a big responsibility. I don't think people realize that. People realize how big a responsibility is and the role you have to play in that, because they think like, oh, well, when they're in school, people are influencing them with this and this and this and that. Like I was around a lot of things when I was growing up in school, drugs, alcohol, but guess what? Because of how I was raised, I was like, no, thank you. I'm good.
Around like the smoking and everything and partying, and I'm like, I
knew better. I just knew better because of how I was raised. You can't constantly blame everybody else for how your child is ending up. Like,
exactly.
What is wrong with you? Like, no.
It's not the kid's responsibility until that child is 18 or you decide to be mean and kick them out prior. Mm-hmm. The child is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to teach your child from right and wrong. It's your responsibility to filter what your child watches, what they consume.
Yeah, I agree.
Kids consume things like sponges. Mm-hmm. So you need to take that time to be careful. If they come across a film like Cuties, then you need to be able to be grown enough and parent the child and explain to them why this is wrong.
Right.
Why this is okay, why this is not okay.
Right.
But
I agree.
I'm sorry, I couldn't. Side eye.
People want to shield their kids from everything, which is not. It's just not possible.
No.
Like it's just not possible. They're gonna see certain things. They're gonna be exposed. Like you're not with them all the time. They go to school. They're on when you go to school, people are always talking about stuff, showing people stuff on their phone, on YouTube. But they're gonna be exposed to things they don't. You don't want them to be. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable. It's just up to how you taught them. How to receive those things.
And that was the point in the movie, because the point of the movie was Amy, the main character, the little girl, comes from a conservative, African French family.
Yeah.
Again, she's sheltered from everything, but once she goes to school and she sees these girls dressed a certain way, they dance a certain way.
Right.
She meets one of the dancers in her building and they become friends. Behind closed doors, she's showing Amy Lacole 1, 2. You can't swear for your children. I know the Caribbean came out. You can't swear for your children once they're out of your sight. So you need to make sure you are teaching your children. You can expose them to certain things, not too much, not everything.
Right.
But expose them to enough so they know once this situation comes face to face, they know how to handle and conduct.
Yeah, they know how to deal with it. Right.
Yep. Now, my next question for you is, people originally spoke about the film being, having a lot of exploitation, sexually abusive, and hypersexual. Again, do you agree with what they said? And do you agree with it being targeted towards a mature audience? I think we kind of covered it, but we can kind of do it again.
Do I agree with it being, I'm sorry, say it again. Do I agree with what?
Like with it being like, in a sense, sexually abusive, hypersexual, exploitative, I think that's the right word.
Yeah, I think it's exploitative, but I definitely I definitely think it is to an extent exploitative, only because they're young girls that are they're acting out these things that they shouldn't necessarily be acting out their age. So I definitely think to some extent it's exploiting them, but I mean, I think, like I said, these children are exploited, like children are exploited in all kinds of industries. And I mean, it's not right at all, of course. It doesn't make it right. I'm just saying that, like, I think that if they felt that they needed to use these young girls to put, make this message come across in this film, then that's what they did. I mean, you can't really change anything at this point. I think that I really wish that they had honestly used older teenagers. I'll say that. I think I wish that they used older kids.
I said that too.
They use like actual kids. It's really like difficult to focus on the message because you're just constantly thinking about like, these are like babies doing these things. Like, that's just so disturbing. Like, you know what I mean? They honestly could have used slightly older teenagers to do the same thing. But I mean,
no, I completely agree. I thought you need to use either like older teenagers who understand what's going on, or use young adults who still look like kids, because there's a lot.
It looked like 10-year-olds. I don't think they're gonna.
Well, you have like, what's her name? Like, you have like Sky Jackson, for example. Like, she's like, what, 18, 19, but she has a baby face.
She really does. You're right.
So if you use someone like that who is mature enough to understand the content of the film, can still look like it. It doesn't make it, in a sense, right. But I feel like to have such young kids and jeopardize and compromise their dreams before they're even aware of what's going on. Can you imagine now watching this back?
I agree. Yeah,
3 years from now?
Too,
and be like, Mom, why did you make me sign up for this?
Right. They really didn't have any way to, I mean, they consented to it, but I mean, when you're that age, you don't really know, like, what's best. So it really isn't fair to them as well. I agree. That's probably my biggest issue with it, is just how young the adult actors were. They're so young. They're like literally babies, like, and I don't know. That's probably the biggest issue I have with this film, honestly. It's probably just the age of the actresses. That's why, because a lot of films have done similar things, but just with older teenagers. So it just,
and then when it's older, we don't really like, oh my gosh, that's so wrong. We're like, oh, dude, that's what's happening.
We've had these issues, but we've had these same movies before, just with older teenagers. So you don't really think of it that seriously, but because they're like actual babies,
like they're minors.
Yeah, they're like 10. Like, they're so young, man. Like, it's too much. I always said, like, if you wanted to prove a point, then I think you should have made like an actual documentary. I definitely agree with that.
Right? Go out into the parts of Europe or Africa or the Caribbean and go find kids who are actually going through this and talk to them about it. I feel like if she wanted to talk about her childhood or whatever, definitely do a documentary. But to really seek out kids to do a film like this, I did not.
Right. And to orchestrate them, like, oh, do this, like twerk, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's I agree.
Now, a lot of people, though, were given flack to the director and Netflix for even having to watch this. How do you feel about that? Do you think they deserve the flack as well? Because you're watching kids do this.
Yeah.
You're auditioning kids for this.
Yeah. You mean editing the viewers, or what are you talking about?
Like, the viewers were criticizing Netflix and the director, like, you sat there and edited a film watching kids do this, watching kids audition for this. Do you think they deserve that criticism too?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely feel like I said, with how young the actresses were, I think that, like I said, it was just exploitative for them. Like, I really feel like you seeked out children and then asked them to do sexual dancing and all these very uncomfortably sexy, things. So I definitely think, regardless of their intention, it definitely is sketchy on their end, because they're grown adults that seeked out. They literally went out and like did this on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, they actually did it. Went out and they actually try to like get these kids to do intent. Yeah, with intent and purpose, and it's just that makes it just as uncomfortable. But you can say the same thing about, like I said, a lot of different shows. Like we said, Dance Moms. They literally make these kids do, like, a lot of them are literally not, I wouldn't say forced, but they're pressured by their parents and by the directors to do the same kinds of things. So I mean, it's just as wrong on both ends. But I definitely don't agree with like the way they went about making it. the message regardless was, like I said, I think the message was just lost. The message was lost because of how they went about it. That's just the biggest thing about it. So.
No, I agree. It was lost, especially because, like we said, with the ages of the actresses, with the stuff they had them doing, you could have used older, and you could have definitely took away some scenes. I think the movie still had that effect.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be a whole, she's coming of age, and she's adapting to a new culture and a new reality, going from Senegal to, I think it's France.
Yeah.
But it's like, cool, we get it. However, I think some things were just added in, and it was just a little too extra.
Yeah.
To boycott the movie, now that's to each their own. I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
But I feel like there's definitely some things that it just could have done without.
Yeah, it's just how they approached executing it.
Yeah.
Is my biggest thing. But I mean, we're here talking about it, so I guess, you know, they did their job. It created some sort of a debate and discussion. So I mean, I guess that's what they wanted. So.
And I think that was the director's purpose the whole time. The purpose of the movie was to show the hypersexualization of little girls in today's age through social media. She hit it on the nail.
Yep, she did.
Now my thing is, we talked about like our time, like our childhood versus the kids of today.
Yeah.
Like, you know, these are things that most of us were doing, but we were having fun doing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't for show. It wasn't for the attention.
Right.
For some of us. But my thing is, what advice would you give to young girls who've either seen this movie or not, or who are facing these pressures today?
I think just understand. I mean, if they're watching the film, I'm assuming that they're seeing like the portrayal of this being done for attention. And I think that just know that like you don't need that kind of attention at that age. Like you just don't. You know what I mean? You don't need to be worrying about that. And of course, I think it's easy to say that when you're an adult, and like, you know, for kids, it's like you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a different environment for them. Like they're literally surrounded by it, and there's all the influences of their peers. They kind of feel like it's necessary to even survive, like through getting school, is to fit in that way. So I can understand that, but also just like understand that when you're that age, anything sexual at all does not need to be even worried about. It's not important, and you don't need that kind of attention. If you need that kind of attention from a male, and that's the only way to keep it is to do these kinds of things. Like you just don't need to be dealing with that guy in the first place, especially not at 10 years old, 11 years old. That's just not what your focus should be. And yeah, I don't really know. I mean, it's hard because I was there. Like I remember being that age and like feeling some of that pressure as well. Like you feel it. And you see all these little girls, you know, when you're in middle school, you see people having boyfriends and girlfriends and all this stuff. And you kind of feel like you have to like do certain things just to get that same recognition, get that same attention. And it's really hard to like, you can know in your head, like, I don't need a man, you know, I don't need a boyfriend at this age, but like, it's different when you're going through it, you know? So I think it's hard to give advice to little girls. I think my only advice would be just to like, not feel, don't allow peer pressure ever to dictate how you act. Like, that's just all I could say, because I know that for me, that's what I did. I mean, I didn't really even date in high school or middle school, really. Because, I mean, not because I didn't want to, but just because I kind of like, I mean, actually, I didn't really want to. I didn't really want to. I think I just saw too much drama. But I think just know that those pressure, like, you don't need to be pressured into doing anything. Like, honestly, just try not to be pressured into doing anything, whether it be alcohol usage, drug usage, sex. Like, remember your morals and how you were raised, and your ideology, and just focus on acting accordingly. You know, don't focus on trying to impress anybody else, because honestly, these kids are not going to be in your life in the next few years. You probably, the friends you have at 10 years old, you're not going to have them after like a couple more years. Like, you know, how often do you have friends for that long?
Most of them say you're only friends with these people because you see them 5 days a week.
Right, exactly. You're not actually, like, you're probably not actually friends. You know what I mean? You probably just see them, you're just like, hey, how you doing? Like, they're not there for you when you need them to be there for you.
No.
Like, you know, all that matters is your family. Honestly, at that age, all that matters is your family and how they perceive you. it doesn't even, honestly, these kids are so temporary in your life. Like, it doesn't even matter how they perceive you. So, yeah.
No, I agree, because I'm thinking back to, like, let me put myself in, like, my 11-year-old shoes, and I think about my little sister, and I'll think about my nieces, and I'm like, if there's one piece of advice, is like you said, we can always tell people, you know, don't follow the crowd.
Yeah, it's easy to
Peer
say that,
pressure, but it's easier said than done.
Right, it really is, yeah.
When you see your friends, maybe like part of the popular crowd, or you see them getting that attention, you'd be like, well, I want that too.
Yeah, what can I do to get there? Yeah.
Exactly. And that was the same situation for Amy. She was that outsider. Now, what can I do to get that boy's attention? What can I do to fit in? And sometimes we lose ourselves trying to please people.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Yeah.
I feel like if I can go back, I would tell them, you know, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Try to stay as authentic to yourself as you can be. Not everyone will like you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like you said, most of these people are not even going to matter like 5 years down the line.
Honestly.
It's easier said than done. It might be hard to listen to, but my biggest thing is just be yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
My
that,
mom used to say, boys will come and go, but make sure you have that paper first.
Very true. Very true. Ooh.
What? I did not date until my second, third year of university.
Ooh.
Because I'm like, you see, mommy said, wait for the paper, I got my degree, then she said, then you can do what you please.
Yeah, thankfully I wasn't concerned. I didn't feel concerned with that stuff at that age. Thankfully, I mean, like, that's obviously, like, I'm a rare case where I didn't feel, I mean, I felt the peer pressure, but like, I didn't give into it. I really just didn't care. I didn't care about, you know, having a boyfriend or like fitting in terms of like having sex and like having all these experiences. Like, I just didn't care about that stuff at that age.
Like, if it happened, I want you, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, I need it.
Right, exactly. I just wasn't concerned with like making sure like I made sure this happened. Like, I wasn't. And like you said, honestly, just that's very good advice. Honestly, like, that's probably what I tell myself. If I can go back and tell my 10-year-old self, 11-year-old self in 6th grade, just be you. Just literally just be you, authentically you, and just whoever likes you will like you. And they're meant to be for your in your life. If they don't like you for you just being you, then why do you even care? Like, they don't like
the right ones for you.
Right. If you have to change yourself for you to be friends with somebody or to get somebody's attention, then they're never meant to be in your life in the first place, because they're
ain't your friends.
Don't do it. It's not even worth it. It's not worth it.
Be yourself, and your education comes first.
Education. Ooh, focus on your little honor roll certificates.
Once you have this, they can't take it from you.
Your degree, your grades, and just, you know, your authentic friend. That's all that matters at that age, honestly. I promise you, nothing else matters. I promise you. You have so much time, you know, to think about sex and male attention. Like, you have so much time. You have literally, like, you won't be on this earth for 10 years. Like, you have like 80 more years.
You have a lifetime.
You have a lifetime. It doesn't even matter. So,
like, stay true to you. Figure out who you are first. That's another thing. Figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us, we seek to find ourselves in someone else, whether it's in friends or in a guy or a girl. We don't judge. You seek to find yourself in people, and then you become everybody else. And then you're like, okay, so who are you?
Forget who you are. Yeah.
You're a mirror of A, B, and C.
Yeah. Yeah, I had crises like that. I had that problem in high school. I kind of try like you said, you make all these friends, you try to like conform to all your friends and your friend groups, and then you kind of forget, like, oh, who am I? Like who am I, you know, aside from these people? Like, who am I on my own? Like, you know, you forget that. And I think I had to rediscover that in college, because for the first year of college, I was pretty alone. I didn't really have that many friends. So I was forced to like figure out again, like, Anissa. And it was difficult. It was difficult psychologically, emotionally, but, you know, it's necessary. So I think that it's definitely, like, I think everybody needs to make sure that they are focusing firstly on themselves and staying true to themselves firstly before anything else. Like, before I don't care if you meet a man that you think you're in love with, or a woman you think you're in love with. I don't care who it is. Like, remember that you come first, and to make sure that you're not compromising yourself, your values, your morals for anybody ever. ever. Don't do it.
Emphasis on the ever.
It's not worth it.
Because I think that was the same thing too. I remember back in high school where again you have your friends, and like you said, you are who you're with.
Yeah.
And you start to act like them. And I remember one time my mom's like, I don't know where you got this attitude from, but you see your friends them. And I did think about this time, like, Mom, I'm my own person. And again, you guys, this, unfortunately, I saw part of myself in Amy when it came to some of these things.
Ooh, I can say that too. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Because again, Amy was, she was a little cultured, conservative girl. Like me, I grew up in the church. But again, you meet some friends, and then all of a sudden, there's a switch.
Yep.
And like you said, once I hit university and I had none of those friends anymore, I had to find back myself.
Yes. Then university. Do you live on campus?
No, I commuted, which I think is what made it harder.
Oh, I bet.
Because I had to commute like an hour and a half to and from school.
Oh so my goodness. Every day?
Every day. What? And then I wasn't the one to really make friends. I'm very, in a sense, introverted. So I would just go to class, go to the library, go home.
Oh my goodness.
Right? Then I had the relationship. And again, this is when we said, make sure you know yourself.
Man. Ooh, that's a whole different topic. Okay.
On cloud 9. Oh, this is my boo again. Once that ended, I had to regather, recollect, and figure out, okay, who am I? Let me make sure before I get with somebody else, I'm secured in myself. I'm not changing. I'm not doing anything to please him. If I'm pleasing you, it's because it's a two-way street.
Right.
Not me trying to be like, okay, well, how can I keep you? How can I make you happy?
Yeah.
Like, love language for me is to give.
Okay, that's your love language.
But you can't give too much.
Right.
Because you're gonna drown. Your battery's gonna be on E.
You can't give it. Yeah, you're draining you're draining yourself trying to constantly please this person.
Yep. So again, it works from friendships, from childhoods to relationships. You need to know yourself and be comfortable within yourself. And that's what I saw at the end of the movie is when Amy left, and this is the thing that I don't think they showed in the trailer. I didn't watch the official trailer, but everyone saw that dance scene. What was never shown was at the end of the dance scene, Amy kind of has like, and I don't know if they do this in like every French film. She had an all of a sudden these gold flakes started falling, and it's like she had a reality check. And partway through the dance competition, she ran home. And it's like she found herself and ran to her mom and it's like, I'm sorry. And she dressed like a child her age. She looked like a child her age. And her mom even said, you know what? Because the whole thing, she was rebelling against her father's marriage to another woman. And the mom was like, you don't have to come. I'm not going to force you. Be yourself. It's okay. Stay here. And Amy kind of came to this, like, the heaven gates have opened.
Yeah.
Be like these girls. I don't need to dress like them. I don't need to post these pictures. I need to just be me. I need to be able to find that balance between, in the sense, that modern European girl,
right?
Still keep my culture and my family values.
Right.
And I think that's the part that actually really got me in the movie, where it's like she finally came to herself. And most girls are gonna have that moment. You might not have it that quick.
Oh, definitely. Oh no. I think a lot of the wisdom, that wisdom of like understanding all the things we're talking about right now, I think that takes time. That takes time and takes experiences for you to understand that. Because I mean, we can say whatever you want to these little girls, but until they for themselves realize it and go through certain things, they're not gonna fully understand and they're not gonna fully, get it. So I mean, I think so that took her, through that film of all her losing herself to finally understand, like, okay, this is who I am, and this is actually my values. This is what I don't need to do anymore. Mm-hmm. But I think that for some kids, it takes a while for them to get there. Like you said, like, I mean, it might take them all through middle school and high school to finally realize it. Some kids, it depends on the child. Like for me, I never cared. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did care for middle. I think middle school was my, like, through middle school was my, like, I was trying to constantly conform. Yeah. And I think even some high school, but I think that some girls it takes longer, and so it's just, for them, they have to themselves go through it to make the discovery, because we can't really make somebody have that wisdom until they actually have those experiences that result in that.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. There's so many things where you have to go through it yourself. We can tell you.
Yeah.
We can lecture you. Your mother, your grandmother, everyone can lecture you and tell you, but they are not you. They don't know what you go through on a daily. We don't know what you're going to go through on a daily basis. Sometimes you have to go through those trials and tribulations to understand and appreciate the journey, appreciate where you are in the moment. You just gotta be able to fight and keep the faith.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of girls go through that, and I feel like that was the big takeaway from this movie that people miss.
Right, I agree.
There's so many trials and tribulations that girls go through to come into their own, that coming of age story.
So much that goes into it, and this is just showing one aspect. There's a lot of different aspects of going through that journey, but this is just showing the sexual pressures. But there's a lot more to it than that.
Oh yes,
so much more to it.
Don't worry, just give Netflix a couple more months and the next movie will come out again, and this is gonna die out.
I'm dead.
It's really just that trend, that roller coaster trend. Something comes, oh my gosh, and then it fades out.
It fades out, yep.
The next trend comes in.
And the next thing comes and everybody's mad about it. It's a whole topic, and then it's dead again.
And then we're canceling again, and then we're gonna bring it back.
Yeah. It's always gonna be something that we're trying to, we have an issue with, I think. But I mean, I think if we like capture those things in the moment and try to like, confront them, like what is it? Why is it? Why does it exist? What is it? What's the purpose? I think that as long as we do that every time, I mean, like I said, right now I don't see too much debate and discussion, not as much as I would hope, but I think that this is a nice step in the right direction.
Right. We're not going to be biased in here and be like, oh my gosh, yes, boycott the movie, this and that. What we're telling you guys is we don't approve of this movie. But what we're saying is definitely take the time before you jump the gravy train and be like, cancel this, stop this. Take the time to do your own research.
Right.
Take the time to either watch it for yourself, read it for yourself, and
make your own opinion.
Exactly, an educated opinion. Not for the popular mass, like the masses. Not because it's trending. Figure out what it is.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Go based off of what you're seeing on social media. Just little clips here and there, and just people, people's very angry like tangents. Like you're not gonna really get, to understand for yourself what it is and your own take on it. You're just gonna be like, oh, this person's saying it's gross and disturbing, so that's what it is. Oh well, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't really like why brush it off like that? Like I get it. It's weird to see, but like take that time. Like why not? It's already out in the world.
It's gross and disturbing, but why is it gross and disturbing?
Right, exactly. Why is it gross and disturbing?
Yep. That's I'm just like, ooh. So take this time, educate. Like we said, don't let the media educate you. Educate yourself. Do your research. But what is your, I would guess, to conclude the episode, what is your takeaway from this? Like, to sum up your opinions on the movie, advice to young girls, like, to bring everything into a whole, what would you say?
I just think, for me, I think that this kind of gave me a better perspective about what young girls are going, because I mean, like I said, I'm not a young girl anymore. I'm not that age. I'm not a preteen girl anymore in today's society. I can't imagine what they're constantly, intaking. And I mean, this film gave us a small glimpse of about what they're going through. And obviously, like I said, it was very extreme. But I think that for me personally, it made me have to confront this topic. Like, I didn't really, you don't really talk about this kind of thing on the daily. I mean, because we're not that age. And if you don't have a kid that age, and if you're not that age, you don't really think about the struggles that these kids are going through. I think that this kind of made us have to take a moment and be like, okay, what exactly is, like, is it this bad? Like, is this how severe it is? Like, wow, like, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of gave us that time to do that and moment to do that. I personally feel like I said, I wish that they didn't exploit these young children. I really wish they didn't. And I wish that certain things were done differently, were approached differently. But I really think that how disturbing the film was, I think that, and the shocking nature of the film is why we're even discussing it, why it's even a topic. So I think that in a way, like, it was necessary. Like, how they did it was necessary, because if, like I said, if they hadn't done it like that, it wouldn't be trending in the world at all. Like, it would have got buried under all the other shit going on in the world. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse.
My girl, unapologetically her. There's no filter.
It would have got buried under all the other stuff going on right now in today's society. So I think that this is something to talk about. Like I said, with apps like TikTok, I'm telling you guys, TikTok has a lot of different communities. If you go in there and look, you will find girls that age doing all kinds of dances that are not appropriate for their age. Like, it's there. It's there in our faces. We just don't, like, see it because it's not, it's not right where we are. But, like, this film is on Netflix, where we all watch Netflix, so we all kind of had to see it, and we all saw it, and we were like, oh my gosh. But it's constantly happening in society. Like, it happens all the time. Dance moms, like we said, Paras and Tears, like, it's everywhere. We just don't confront it. We don't. And I think that this is kind of necessary for us to have to do that. So I'm torn. I'm still torn on it, but I think it was necessary to an extent. So
no,
where I'm at now.
Sorry, before I even give my opinion, is TikTok actually banned in the States?
If you have it already downloaded on your phone, I still have it. You'll still have it. Mm-hmm. But I think it's supposed to actually be inaccessible for us in November.
Oh.
But they also put out a whole a whole message saying, like, we're here to stay, and we're gonna figure out a way to work with, like, American companies to stay. I don't know. So we'll see if they stay or not. They said that they're gonna try to stay on our app stores, but we don't know what's going on anymore.
So I'm gonna come back in November and revisit this with you, because I really want to see if they're gonna ban TikTok.
You know what? I don't know. I know that it has been taken off of the App Store if you don't already have it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know why it was a priority.
Right?
For our president. Anyways, you know what? He pissing me off. Our president upsets me. I don't have time for him. Honestly, he really made it a priority to get rid of TikTok. TikTok, we have police brutality. We have the coronavirus pandemic.
And you worried about TikTok? Damn. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Just bring you over to Canada real quick.
Ooh, if you guys are watching from America, please register to vote and vote. I'm not playing with you guys. I'm tired. Honestly, I have so many people that I know that are friends of mine too, that didn't vote last election.
No, this is your time. Use this platform. Tell people why they need to vote and encourage them. We're going to put the topic on hold. Tell them about
why you need to vote. There are so many examples of why you need to vote. This man in our office is trying to ruin our country. Okay, let's just be real. He's not it. He's just not what we need. Okay, he's not what we need anymore. He never was what we needed, honestly, if we're being real. And we need to get him out, and that's it. I'm not gonna tell you who to vote for, because honestly, everybody has different opinions about Biden. I personally think that if you don't vote for Biden, though, you're low-key giving Trump a vote, because if you don't vote for Biden, like, he has no other competition. So if you're not voting for Biden, you're kind of giving Trump a vote, essentially. But just don't vote for Trump. That's all I have to say. Just make sure we get him out of the office, because I can't do this anymore with him. I can't. I'm over
I
it.
always said it would be the biggest plot twist if he ends up back for a second term and be like, y'all had one job.
I'm not gonna lie, though. The way it looks right now it's very possible. It's very possible.
Damn.
I know it is. It's so sad, but it's very possible, because people don't like Biden. So they're not wanting to vote either at all, or they're gonna try to, like, burn their vote on, like, Kanye or something, or they're gonna, like. I'm so serious. People just.
I'm actually upset about that.
Americans are very interesting people. Honestly, they're not the smartest people, as you can probably tell.
So this is again where we said, don't let the media educate you. Educate yourself.
Please do your own research.
Out.
Seriously, honestly.
Who you are
and honestly, Black people, once again, our ancestors fought and bled and died for us to have this right. Do not make them upset. Do not do them wrong by not voting. That's just rude. That's to me it's just like you're shitting on your ancestors. Like, your ancestors literally fought and died for us to have this right. Like, do right by them. Make your voice heard. Like, you can go on social media and you know, have go on a whole tangent about how much you hate Trump, how much you hate the political, you know, parties that are in office right now, how much you don't like what's going on in the Congress and Senate, whatever. But you're not doing anything about it if you don't go and make your voice heard officially on the ballots. Like, there's no reason for you to be having a whole passionate opinion about something if you don't even try to make things better. You know, like, I just, we're gonna see. We'll see November 3rd. We're gonna see what happens. But so, I hope that, you know, we don't end up. I really hope we don't end up with this man in our. Maybe, you know what? We'll talk again after November 3rd. We'll talk again.
We're gonna bring Anissa back.
We don't talk again. I will tell you
about the election, and I want to figure out TikTok's ban. Like, we need to bring you back. I like having the American perspective.
No, yeah, that's true.
I like this.
We're just going up in flames over here. Don't mind us. We're going through it over here, man. We really are. Honestly, it's ridiculous. How is Canada with COVID? Like, are you guys doing okay? Like,
to be honest,
handling it.
It's not bad. We're told wear masks, keep your distance, but it's slowly creeping back up.
Oh.
And now they're saying it's the young people.
Oh, for sure. That's us too. Same, yeah.
Right? Because everyone thinks that they're like indestructible. Everyone thinks that they're immune. And I'm like, y'all need to take your asses home.
Mm-hmm. And sit down.
I work in retail, and with the amount of people I see pulling up to the stores, I say, you don't need to be here. Half of y'all ain't working. Everybody and the grandmothers. The poor babies are out here crawling on the ground, and I said, you know, pick up your child. What? And then people want to come talk to you and be like, can you help me find this? I said, you need my mask on.
Put your mask on. I'm tired of you guys. Okay, you know what? This is for everybody in every country that's watching this. Masks are meant to be worn over your mouth and your nose.
And nose.
You are going into an establishment. You can't just wear it when you walk in and take it off after you walk in and like you're safe. That's not how it works. These people will come into my job and take their mask off, talk to me, and sit there talking to me. I'm just like, may you please put your mask on, please? Like,
be like, I can hear you with it on. Don't worry. This is not the time to take it off.
You defeat the whole purpose by taking it off. Like, what's the point of that? And also, if you're older, stay in your house. Especially if you're younger too. But if you're older, especially, stay in your house. Why are you outside?
Right?
Why outside? You are the most at risk. Why are you outside?
Like, if you don't need to go, don't go.
You need to be in the house.
You don't need the pair of jeans that badly. Where are you going? You're working from home.
Get somebody to buy them for you. Why are you outside?
They're shipping. I am encouraging online shopping, although it's putting people out of business. Right now, I encourage it.
That's all I do now. Online shop. Constantly.
You need to be in the stores touching and breathing on me. Oh.
For every little thing, why are you outside? Go in your house.
Go home. If you want to be outside, go enjoy a nice park with your family.
There you go. Isolated to the side, under a tree somewhere.
Find a little social circle and just stay there.
Stay there. That's it.
That's it.
Get some fresh air and then go back in the house. Then go back in the house. Like, I don't people that are like between the ages of 16 to 25, y'all are trying it, honestly.
Look here. We're about to have a second wave at the rate these people are going, and I'm not here for it.
Going to party. I've seen parties. I've seen huge parties. People packed like sardines with no masks on. I'm like, do you want us to all die?
Like, you had one job. This pandemic has been going on since March.
I understand getting kind of stir crazy and wanting to go with your friends, but like you said, do it isolated, do it safely. Make sure you're wearing your masks. Make sure you're just being safe. Like, you don't have to be going. Parties are gonna be there forever. Like, you don't have to be going to party right now. Okay.
You can miss a party for a year. It's not gonna kill you.
It's not that.
This, however, might.
And I was fine.
Right.
I went ahead. I ate some cake in the house. It was really boring, but guess what? I was safe. My parents were safe. Okay.
It was like, what you doing for your birthday? I said I went. I finally was brave enough to go get my nails done.
You did? Okay, there you go.
The salon, you know, 2 people. Like there's for every person, there's like 2 empty seats in between.
Good.
The shield.
Mm-hmm.
I said that is the most interaction I'm gonna have on my birthday.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna come home and stand in my yard. I don't want to go nowhere. The only person who came who allowed around me was Tanish.
Really?
Because she's the only person I've been around this whole pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, stay away from me.
Yeah.
Unless I have to go to work and you're not my mother, stay away from me.
Honestly.
No.
Why? What reason?
You don't need it.
You don't need it.
There's FaceTime, there's Zoom, there's a phone, there's text. I was built for this.
Oh, because you're an introvert.
Yes, I was built for this.
Bro, everybody I know who's an introvert are just like, this is like me. This is what I do all the time. This is every day. This is not nothing new for me. I'm like,
everyone's like, you're not bored yet? I said, bored of what? I have my computer. I have all my shows to binge. What am I done with?
I have fun with myself, okay? I have fun with myself. I be reading my books, watching my TV, stretching, dancing, eating.
You just have to learn how to entertain yourself. You might look a little bipolar. However, learn to entertain yourself and you're good. Find a hobby.
Everyone should be able to do that, though. I'll be honest. Everyone should be able to self-sustain, like,
yes.
and entertain themselves by themselves. You should, if you're not comfortable just being with yourself for even a week or two, like with no other interaction, like you should be able to do that. I'm gonna be honest. You should.
You have to be able to enjoy your own company.
Right. I'm not going sometimes, but I still am able. Like I love myself enough to be like I'm fun. First of all, I'm making jokes. I be making jokes to myself, laughing at myself. Okay, people think I'm crazy, but I don't care. I'm hilarious.
Thank you. I be having the most fun. If people don't get it, they're like, "Oh, I want to go back. I need to hang out," and I'm like, When those cases drop below 100, maybe. So I'm good over here. I need the whole country to drop.
Yeah, that'll be a while before that happens. Honestly, a good year or two, probably.
And it'll be a while before you see me.
Thanks.
I'm good. I'm good. Corona.
You just time to learn how to bake some bread. Learn how to knit.
I became Chef Ramsay during quarantine.
That's so I don't like to cook. I'm trying to get on that. I have not. I'm gonna get on that.
And I cooked for the time. No, I didn't.
Oh.
Like I didn't even make rice. And I learned how to cook during quarantine because I'm like, okay, it's a life skill, and I have time on my hands now.
Yeah.
Before that.
So you Chef Ramsay now? That's Boyardee? Okay. That's dope. I need to get on that. I can cook a little bit, but I can't like throw down. You know the show?
Oh.
I can't do it like her.
Okay, no. That's an extreme.
Okay. I was like, give me recipes and all
my Chef Ramsay, there's like 5 things on my menu.
Okay, what's the 5 things?
We do like lasagna.
Okay, I love lasagna.
Right, we do a little chicken fried rice.
Okay, I love chicken fried rice.
I can give you some chicken teriyaki.
Okay, that's cute.
We do chicken Alfredo.
Okay, that's cute.
I can also give you some nice like barbecue jerk wings.
Oh, jerk wings on the grill, right?
Well, no, I do mine in the oven. Like I bake it. You have to like cook up the wings first, like
I bet it's
sauce.
I bet it's good.
Oh yeah, girl. I live in an apartment. I can't be doing no grill. Next thing you know, they charge me. Gotta do that.
Wait, what do you mean? Grill? What do you mean? Charge you for a grill?
No, like how I do it first, like you have to like connect. Make sure like you bake the chicken. I like to fry it up a bit. And then I put the sauce on, then put it back in the oven. Just let it.
Oh. I haven't
That's
had
my 5
chicken.
things.
I haven't had jerk chicken that wasn't from the grill.
Oh no, this is like barbecue jerk, so I mix it with the sauce.
Oh, okay.
Oh no,
okay.
not like that jerk chicken. No, barbecue.
Okay,
jerk.
I was very confused. Okay, got you. Now I got you. I got you now. I got you. Okay,
Yes,
I need to get on that. I'm gonna get on that. I got you. Give me like.
That's my top 5. Oh, and macaroni pie.
Huh?
Macaroni pie. So 6.
Macaroni pie. What's that?
I don't know if you guys. I don't think you guys call it different. Like baked mac and cheese.
Oh, okay.
But we call it macaroni pie.
We call it baked mac and cheese.
Yes.
Okay. I love baked mac and cheese. See, I can do that too. I can do that.
That's
Do
it.
you put eggs in yours or no? Or do you put you put flour in yours or no?
No.
What are you putting in yours?
I don't know what recipe I found. It was a mixture between Southern and a Trini recipe, and I just kind of combined the two.
Oh, okay.
And then it's just like boom.
See, Americans. See, that sounds like okay. So that's like a okay. I know Americans like Black Americans like they keep putting like all kinds of things.
All kinds of things.
Flour,
That's a lot.
Milk, eggs, like making a cake basically, but with cheese. That's what they do, honestly. But there's different recipes for it, like you said, there's different recipes.
Right? I just be like, this looks normal. I feel like I'll eat this. All right, let's combine the work some magic.
Good. When I try to do that experiment like that, it'll be coming out right. it doesn't come out right. Like I'm just like, oh, this tastes better in my head. This will be better in my head. But you know what? This is what we have this time for, to experiment, learn, hone our skills. You know, we're gonna hone our skills. Okay, give me a few weeks.
Wait, do I put egg in it? I think I do.
Egg?
I think so. Yeah.
You probably do.
I have to think back. I'm trying to like picture the recipe in my head. I think I do.
You season it?
Mm-hmm.
You season it?
Oh,
yeah. Saison? What saison do you? What do you like?
We got girl. Got like our salt, our pepper, our paprika, little garlic seasoning. Ooh,
exactly. All the staples, all the foundations, all the basics are covered. I like that. Good. That's what I'm making sure.
No bland food.
I'm making sure. I don't know. Some people don't season their mac and cheese, and I don't. You know.
Look, some people don't season their chicken. I said, oh, what?
First of all, if you don't season your meat in general, don't come near me. Don't come near me. This is why I don't do potlucks or any kind of group cooking things, because people don't know how to cook.
No.
Okay, don't wash their meat. Nothing. We don't do that.
I don't know if you saw, that was a whole controversy here. Like
it was.
Okay, it made it across the border.
It was, yeah. It was a big. No, it was a big. It was a big thing.
Where the talk show host was like telling how she washes her meat, and everybody else kind of
everybody was shocked. They were like, "What? Wash your meat?" And she was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
She was like, lemon juice, vinegar. They were like, "What?"
And you had like the 3 Black people in the audience who were like, "Yes."
They're like, and white people were just like, "Wash." Chicken?
You're gonna spread germs in your kitchen. Well, you're not.
Yeah. I will say this. I didn't research on it. I was trying to research on it. It is technically scientifically proven that washing your meat apparently can splash like bacteria or whatever from your meat onto the. But you know what, guys? It's still necessary. Okay. I need to get all that like.
Clean your kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Wash the counter and the sink afterwards. But you can. Afterwards, okay, that's later on, okay. But still wash off that slime with some marinate your like. Make sure your stuff is just.
I want to know how they're washing their chicken for the fact that everything is splashing all over the place.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, is the chicken alive? Is it flapping its wings in the sink? Like, why is it so messy?
I'm good. They probably be put in there like sink on like the highest like level and just put it there. I don't know what's happening. It's not that difficult. Honestly, it's not.
So pretty much you cannot feed Anissa or I unless you've washed your meat and seasoned it.
Please wash it. Thank you. And also, they also say stuff like, oh, well, when you bake it or like put it in a high temperature, it'll kill the bacteria on it. I don't care. I don't care. I want to make sure that you are preparing it before you bake it. I don't want the bacteria to have to be killed off, all of it, when it goes in the oven.
You know how many hands and machines your meat has went through before it came to you?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. No, they have to package it. They touch it to package it. You don't know what's been on. You don't know what touched your meat before you touched it.
Exactly. Okay? You know where their hands have been.
Just clean it. Just clean your meat. It's not that difficult. I don't know what's so hard about that. Just clean it.
Lemon juice, vinegar, little salt. I don't know.
Something.
Search it up. YouTube it.
YouTube it. Make sure that the person you're YouTubing is black. I don't want to see a white person. I'm just kidding. Just make sure it's done correctly, okay? Make sure it's done correctly. Just make sure, okay?
If you need a reference, go watch Marcy Ian on the social. That's it.
Who's Marcy?
That was the girl who caused the whole controversy for washing.
That was her?
Mm-hmm.
I love her. She was so funny. She was like, yeah. That whole thing was hilarious. That clip was hilarious.
Like, yes, represent for the Caribbean people out there, please. But yes, before I close off, I was just gonna say the final thoughts for the movie. I absolutely agree in the sense where I do not approve of the fact that they use minors for this film. I feel like definitely it should have been teenagers, young adults who are well aware and have that maturity, have that mindset to know, one, this is just acting. Two, this is not going to be traumatizing in the future. I also don't think that it should have been strictly for a mature audience. And I feel like if it was going to be for a mature audience, that was the original intent. Because I think it was rated E for everyone at first.
Yeah.
But if it's going to gear towards adult audience, then probably should use adults in the film who give consent and who don't change dancing and showing their bodies in that way. I do feel like yes, there were some scenes that were over exaggerated. However, unfortunately, it does relate to what we have going on today. So I say if you're going to watch this, watch it with, I would say, an open mind.
Right.
Watch it without the biases of social media and other people in your head. Make the decision for yourself, whether you approve of it, if you don't, to boycott it or not, it's up to you. But make sure you are making the choice based on your own personal feeling, not because someone told you so.
Right. And be very aware of what the content's going to be. Don't remember that the content is going to be to some level uncomfortable for you. Just know that going into it. You're going to be uncomfortable. Prepare yourself. You have to mentally, I don't know, but just understand that that's what you're going to be watching.
Yeah.
Before you go into it. But
my thing is, there are hard scenes to watch. Do what I do. Skip it. If you see it leading somewhere, trust me. If you feel like this is going somewhere that you don't want to see, that's what, first of all. Okay, two things. I could not watch this movie in English. The voiceover was torturing me, so I had to watch it in French.
I use the subtitles.
Yeah, I use the subtitles. I'm like, I can't do this. Skip. If you see it's not going to be comfortable, skip it. You don't have to watch it.
You don't have to watch it.
Also understand, like we said before, unfortunately, this is not the first thing out there. It's not going to be the last. It's just at this moment, this is what's in our face. I think what I like with this movie, it did start the discussion and a conversation. And hopefully now this movie makes people aware that this is what's going on with kids and young adults, and especially females and Black females who are usually overly sexualized and exploited. Hopefully now we'll take the necessary steps to make sure this doesn't happen. To make sure movies and TV shows like this are not shown. To make sure that kids in real life, an everyday Katie or John, are not going to go through what this little girl went through.
Exactly.
Hopefully now we'll take the time to educate our kids and be like, these are the pressures of society. However, what are we going to do to make sure you don't have to feel that way?
Right.
So I think just like, in a sense, George Floyd, people were being killed long before him.
Right.
People are being killed long after him, whether it's police brutality or whatever the case may be. However, he was the one that for some reason was brought to the forefront and started the conversation, started the action. So hopefully, just like George Floyd, this movie will bring it to people's attention, and we'll start having these conversations with our kids. We will start calling out those adults who are looking at kids the wrong way, who are pedophiles, and make them accountable for their actions.
Accountable, right? Exactly.
So that's my thing. My also thing for kids, like I said, be yourself. And maybe you have to go through the trials and tribulations to find yourself.
Yeah.
But just try to be true to who you are at the end of the day. That's where I stand on that.
Only do what you're comfortable with.
Yep.
Don't feel like you have to do something that you're not comfortable with because of whoever is telling you whatever.
Exactly.
Remember that you have authority over your body, essentially. You have authority over your body. Like, you have autonomy over your body. Like, you get to choose what you do and what you engage in. Okay. Don't let nobody make you feel like you have to do anything you don't want to do.
Yep.
Whether it be sex, whether it be just drugs or alcohol, whether it be dancing a certain way, like, you are in charge of your body and your actions. Like, you have full authority over it. Okay?
You do what makes you comfortable.
Right.
Not to please anyone, not to be their friend, not for them to be your man or your woman. You need to do what's best for you, because at the end of the day, you have to live with the consequences. You have to go to bed at night with thinking about, what did I just do or didn't do?
Right.
You think they're worried about you? The minute that happens, they get to go about their business.
It's true.
Yep. But you guys, before we continue on, because I feel like we can rant about this for days.
You really can, honestly. You really can.
So I'm going to bring this to a close and say this concludes today's episode of Unapologetically Her. Thank you, Anissa, for joining me today. And just so people remember, give them your Instagram where they can find you.
The IG is at Anissa Janetta, ANISAGENETTA. Okay.
Yes. And thank you all so much for listening. If you would like to hear more from Anissa again, make sure you actually check out the last episode she was in, Unapologetically Black, the first episode of the series. And if you have any comments, questions, or podcast topics, hit us up on social media. You can check me out at Unapologetically Her on Instagram and at unapologetic_UH on Twitter. Also, don't forget you can listen to the podcast on various platforms, including Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Once again, thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully you tune in to a new episode. Much love, peace, and thank you, Anissa, once again for joining me today.
It's fun. Thank you for having me again.